my family is currently out of town. And so I thought it would be super fun to take a poll on Instagram and see what I should do with my day. I never have free days. And so I took a poll and let's see what they decided. Here were the options. The options were go record 2 more beautiful, stunning gardens from the Hidden Garden Tour, paint my tomato trellis, go to Home Depot, see what's available, or edit the first video I made of the Hidden Garden Tour, which that will be coming, if it's not already posted, it will be posted soon. And that is incredible. I cannot wait for you to see those videos. They look so good. Amazing, amazing gardens. It is just barely, I'm shocked by this, it is just barely Home Depot. So we're gonna run to the store and see what they have available right now. Let's go see what they have at Home Depot. But before we go anywhere, I'm gonna water these hanging baskets. This actually is a new wand I'm testing out. My friend Carly gave me a tip to try this one. It has a, whoa, wrong screw, don't do that one. It has a retractable, has an adjustable length on this. I normally don't like these kind. I like the one with just the soaker hose because my kids get into it. And literally since I've had this, my hose has been all down in the yard because they like to use the jet and spray each other and soak each other. So my favorite is the Melnor wand with just no adjustable settings. Absolutely none. That is what I have on every other hose except for this one. But this one, I will admit, I have liked the height. So that makes it a little bit easier. I don't know, do your arms get tired when you're trying to water stuff? Mine do, for sure. I'm giving these guys a little bit of extra water. I have some new hanging baskets to plant up. Maybe we should open those today too, when we get back from the store. Maybe we should open those before we go to the store. Maybe we should open those now. Let's do it. Why not? This one's heavy. So a company called Earth Planter reached out and asked if I wanted to try some of their hanging baskets. They make hanging baskets, the gorgeous, gigantic kind that you see in commercial spaces and commercial buildings. But these hanging baskets are supposed to hold 4 gallons of water each, and that's the smaller size. I originally said, yes, I want the bigger size. And they're like, that's like really, really large for a commercial building. And I have a really tall porch. And so I was like, yeah, no, I want them really, really large. But they talked me into this size. So we'll see what it is. Oh, these are fun. All right, here we go. Here's the planter. It does hold a ton of water. Look at this. So this is the insert, and then there's this special thing in the bottom for a water well. And it's got this carpet material, and here's the hanging. So it goes down inside. That, and hangs from the chain. That does hold a substantial amount of water, which I'm very excited about. My porch is also crazy windy. And they sent 2 of those. So I'm gonna try them. I'm not sure if I'm gonna try them on my top or my bottom porch. We have a double decker porch. And they also sent this. Okay. Oh my goodness, they're so prepared. This is a slow release fertilizer. And then we also have some special soil. I'm gonna find out all the details on that. And this guy, I don't think I can lift it. Let's see what we can do here. All right. We're gonna do my secret trick, which is to lay the box on its side with the flap underneath and flip it over to get it out. There we go. Ooh, and it even has a little drain in the bottom. This is substantial and very sturdy. Now this has a little, it's supposed to be screwed in. I'm not gonna take that out. I think that's supposed to stay. Oh, it says happy planting inside. And then they even sent a sample pack of all the different colors. This sand one is really fun too. Sandstone, black stone, brown stone, terracotta, and gray granite. That's really fun. We're gonna be looking at those too. And I actually have the perfect, I have a couple plants to put in here. I might take another poll on Instagram and see what we should put inside. I have a beautiful canna on my front porch. I bought one extra one for whatever reason. I ended up with one. I was gonna do them somewhere different, and then I ended up doing 3, 3, 3 instead of needing 10. So I have an extra canna, and my cannas are looking amazing this season. Or I also have a really pretty Princess Alexandra of Kent rose that could go in here, but it's kind of happy in the pot that it's in right now. So let's take a poll, and we're gonna go to the store. So before we go, I'm gonna get some of my pots that don't have drips on them watered and get this laid out. So when we get back from the store, I can get right to it because we know I'm easily distracted. Now you'll see right by my door, I have these two beautiful, they're kind of similar looking. These are Maine planters. This is the Kobe, and I have loved these. This is where my love for self-watering planters began. And I'm really excited to try this one out as well. I think I probably need to figure out where to place this before I start filling it with soil though. So let's water the plants really quick and then we'll head out. They have a lot of really good options today, and honestly, I'm having a hard time deciding. So I'm gonna keep looking around and show you a few of the things. They also have Oriental poppies right now that I get asked about constantly in my yard, and they're really hard to find. I don't know what color these are. They come in several different shades, and it doesn't say, but they make a really majestic cut flower or picture for photos. I don't have a ton of them in my yard except for in the cut flower garden because they don't stay very well where my lot is situated. It's super windy, and so it's windy. Okay, I just figured out what I'm gonna plant. It's because I haven't grown this color before, but I have grown this variety, and let me show you. All right, I'm gonna go with the pink version of the Remarkable Petunia, and that's what I'm gonna put down in there. I'm still gonna get the Bacopa and just a couple of these pretty pink rim petunias. I have a purple rim petunia planted with the rose right now, and it's thriving and looks amazing, so we'll give that a try. I'm also gonna grab some more of the Burpee Thyme because I loved it, and I know I'm gonna use it all up super fast. I did not have enough last year, and these tiny little ones, that looks way bigger than it. Look how tiny that is, so easy to plant. Soilless mix. And the planter. Well, let's take the drip off. This guy has a little drip right here. These two don't, and I wish they did. Next year, I might end up doing, these are those Burpee cucumber trellis. I cut the pots, they come in a plastic pot, and I cut the bottom off the pot, and then I put it in a bigger pot with soil. And they do great for me, even in the crazy full sun out here. It says to put it in its final location before you fill with water, which is a really good idea. The canna lily is so pretty. Doesn't that look amazing? A little bit of height, some coral. Then those annuals down in front. Gosh, I don't know. All right, we have our soil-free mix, which is what this is. The planter comes with a list. And I've got a little bin I'm gonna add some water to while I am putting this in there. I swear, best tip I ever got was from Plaids and Poppies on leaving a million pairs of scissors from the dollar store all over your garden. And the very first day that I had them out here, my sweet kids, I have 4 kids, they came and collected all of them from the entire garden for me. I spent the whole day placing them strategically. Not the whole day, I spent like 5 minutes. Placing them in my garden. They brought them all in. All right, we're gonna add some water and some granular fertilizer. This looks delicious. This looks so good. Just going to sprinkle this in since it's the very bottom, only because the instructions say to. I'm going to keep most of it up into the top. We're going to start adding water because I know from experience, whoa, this type of mix absorbs a ton of water, which is exactly what I'm hoping for with this planter. It says you want it damp, but not sopping wet. Getting there, it's still pretty dry. So I've already put a whole gallon of water into this mix, and that looks about perfect. It actually started to rain, so I had to go inside and come back out a couple hours later, which never happens because this is a desert, and it is super dry here. And when I came back outside, my cutest teenage neighbors were out singing songs at the top of their lungs, and my mic stopped working, so we're going to do a voiceover for the rest of this. Now, the instructions for this planter say that you need to put the soil in and not pack it down, but to make sure that it's filled. So you don't want air pockets in the bottom, but you don't want it smashed in there either. So I'm just adding it down into that bottom well that I showed you earlier that has the special carpet inside. Then I sprinkled in some more of the slow release granular fertilizer that came with these into this top area. I like to keep it around where the roots of my plants are. I don't like it super far away. I also don't really love to top dress with it. I know a lot of people do that, but I prefer it down in the soil around the roots of my plants. And then I needed to mix up some more of the soil mix. I just think it feeds your plants better, and then you don't have to rely on a liquid fertilizer as much because you know that you have a slow release fertilizer already down in your soil. I keep saying soil, but this is technically a soil-less mix that they specifically sent with these planters. Another good tip for you is whenever you're planting things in a planter, you want to make sure that the soil ball is a little bit below the top edge or the rim of your planter. So I like to keep this a couple inches below the very top rim. So you can see right here, it's actually a little bit high. So I will pull it out and dig around it a little bit more and sink it down, because when I water this later, I want the water to be able to go onto the soil and hit the wall and then go down into the planter instead of spilling all of my soil out around the edges of my planter. My annuals are definitely a little bit shorter than this, so I'm just filling in around the edges. And again, I'm not packing it in, but I'm making sure that there's not big air pockets around the canna just with my hands, so that the roots, everything, you want to have good contact with the soil so there's not pockets drying out or getting too hot. Now, the rim petunia is a fairly recent introduction to the market. I got to grow a trial plant of this 2 years ago, and I absolutely loved it. I think it's fantastic during the day to see all the bright pops of color, and then also in the evening you can see the white really glowing in the moonlight, which I truly love. Now the Bacopa is going to be my test to see how evenly moist this planter will stay, because Bacopa is one of the trickiest things that I grow here in my own personal home garden. Bacopa likes to be quite the diva, and once she dries out, she doesn't necessarily ever want to come back again. So I'm going to stick her in 2 of the corners and just kind of test this out and see how she does, honestly. I really love Bacopa. I love that it's a tiny, small texture, white flower, and it's one of my very favorites to grow, but it's also one of the trickiest and most high maintenance things that I ever grow as an annual in my garden. So as I'm adding this very last little bit, I like to tuck a little bit of the soil in front of my annuals, so there's a little bit of a insulated buffer between the roots of the plant and the edges of the planter. This planter is really, really well made, and so I don't think it's going to fry my plant, but sometimes if you have a fiberglass pot or something, it's a great practice to get into. So just put a little bit of soil, especially this dampened soil, in between your petunia or your bacopa or whatever and the front edge of the planter. And then again, make sure that there is a space around the rim of the plant at the top so that your water isn't just all spilling out every time that you come to water. This pretty salmon canna is the $20 Costco special that came out in the spring. I knew I would love them and I wanted quite a few extra. My friend Brian grows them in his yard and I've always loved them there in photos that I've seen. I hope you love this one too. I've added it in quite a few spots, including those window boxes that I showed you, and I think it's going to be amazing here. Just make sure when you go to deadhead it that you are cutting the stalk down as far as you can to make sure that it's not using its energy to form seed pods on here. You don't want that unless you want to save those seeds and plant them later, but I don't. One last thing their instructions mentioned was to make sure that you place this in its final location before filling it up with water. Because the planter holds so many gallons of water, it's actually really difficult to move once you have filled it up. Once again, thank you so much, Earth Planter, for sending this beautiful planter and the hanging baskets. I cannot wait to get them all planted up and try them out in my crazy, hot, dry, sunny, windy location here in the Utah desert. Don't forget, if you like these videos, to follow along and subscribe, and I'll see you real soon.